should be having a special guest join us today, but I'm gonna stall a little bit until I see they enter the meeting. Let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to officially call this meeting into session at 3:59. And we're going to go ahead and get started with roll call. So, Senator Bigd.
Present.
Senator Gustafson.
Here.
Senator Gabbard.
Here.
Senator Vondra.
Here.
Senator Limo.
Here.
Senator Mendonça.
Present.
Senator Parte.
Present.
Senator Salim.
Present.
Senator Nemo.
Present.
Senator Hawk. Senator Hawk. Senator Khan.
Here.
Senator Pham.
Present.
Senator Al-Sadi. Senator Al-Sadi. Senator Albera. Senator Albera. Senator Osman.
Here.
Senator Stiff.
Here.
Senator Nelson.
Here.
Senator Sweeney.
Present.
Senator Ruiz.
Here.
Senator Wheeler.
Here.
Senator Thomas. Senator Thomas. Senator Albasi. Senator Albasi. Senator Bejarano.
Here.
Senator Wickman.
Here.
Senator Hopwood.
Here.
Senator Flynn.
Here.
Senator Novak.
Howdy.
Senator Mecklenburg.
Here.
President Trenny.
Here.
Vice President Maltari.
Here.
And myself. Wonderful. Okay. So before we move into our presentations, let's see, make sure we have people here with us. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and rearrange our order of presentations a little bit. So we're going to start with Hunter Briggs, who's the Chief Elections Commissioner.
Hey, how are you guys doing today? Good. All right. I am here to read you the results from the election, as I'm sure all of you know happened yesterday. Kara, can I have permission to screen share?
You do.
I do? Perfect. All right. Everyone see that okay? Yep, cool. All right, we're just going to go through because I'm just going to read off, who was elected. I'm sure you can all see it. And then I'll get out of here and let you guys keep going. So I am sorry for any names I might mispronounce beforehand. But yeah, so this is the 2021 election results. So for president, we have Rihanna Stiff and Kara Spherical for Empowering Mavericks. For the Senator of College of Allied Health and Nursing, we have Brian Swancutt with 2 seats remaining vacant. For the position for the Senator of College of Social and Behavioral Sciences, there are no candidates that were elected, so there are 2 vacant seats. For Student Body at Large, we have Zahara Osman and Jack Wheeler. For the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology is Sien Hack and Jaden Dyschafer, and 1 vacant seat. For the Senator of College of Arts and Humanities, we have Colin Hank and Frank Vondra. And Senators for the College of Business, we have Sean Kimizi and 1 vacant seat. For the Senator of College of Graduate Studies, there are 2 vacant seats. In the College of Education, Lelti Asgadam. Senator for Off-Campus Residents, Yibsira Desi and Ahmed Abbasi, with 6 vacant seats. For Res Life Senators, we have Audrey Hopwood, Joseph Novak, and Patrick Flynn, with 2 vacant seats. For the Newspaper Board, we have Brian Swancutt with 3 vacant seats. For the CSU Board, winner is Emma Gabbard and Zahara Osman. Athletic Fee Advisory Board, Yibsira Desi and Kaylee Jensen. And for the Student Health Services Advisory Board, we have Patrick Flynn and Lelti Asgadam. Are there any questions about that?
Are there any questions? Any questions? Any questions for the Elections Commission? No? There are no questions.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Awesome. Let's see. I think President Davenport is running late. So we're just going to go ahead.
He's here.
Here?
Yep, I'm here finally. Hi,
Oh.
Karen.
Well, President Davenport, you have the floor then.
Okay, great. Let me get you all on full screen so I can see all of you. Okay, great. Well, boy, we're coming close to the end of the year, aren't we? Yeah, I see kind of a look of relief on some of your faces as well as a smile. So that's good. And I can just tell you that, yeah, I feel the same way. We still have a couple of weeks to go though. So, you know, I ask you not to let down quite yet. And so there's a lot of loose ends, as you might imagine, as we prepare the campus for some of you to graduate and for new students to come in, but also to welcome our new president-elect, Ed Inch, who will be joining us on July 1. So that's all, you know, really good news for the university. And good news, I think, in particular, because I've had a chance to honestly get to know Dr. Inch. And I have told the cabinet meeting, I haven't told you because we haven't had a chance to talk, how thrilled I am to have someone of his caliber stepping in and providing the leadership for the university. And I'm just really, and the word that I often use in mentioning my successor is I'm thrilled. I mean, he is going to do a good job and he's going to take us to the next level. So if I seem overzealous and enthusiastic, it's because I've been here 19 years, you know, and so it's time for new leadership and a new president. And I probably know that more than anybody else. But I will tell you that, gosh, it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun over the years. And every year there's a new group of faces like this in front of me. Not on the screen, normally it's in person, but it's been a lot of fun to work with you even in this environment. So, you know, I guess I'm going to leave it open to questions. I want to leave enough time and allow the speaker to shut me up when you need to. And just say that one thing I would tell you is young adults is 19 years goes very fast. And you won't believe it. In fact, you'll be looking back at your years here at the university thinking, gosh, I wish I was there. You know, as a matter of fact, just a day ago, or actually 2 days ago, I heard from a graduate from probably 40 years ago. And he sent me a message because he was remembering, by the way, I can't tell you the person's name, but he informed me, listen to this, that he wanted to make $1 million gift to the university and he wanted to reach out to me. And what he said is, as a student like yourself, he said, you know, President Davenport, there were 2 faculty members in the College of Business that I work with that I just remember were incredible and that really shaped my life. And as I think back about it on all of that, I just want to make sure that we recognize that I show my appreciation. And are they still around? And could you connect me with them? So believe it or not, a true story as I'm telling it, believe it or not, I reached out to the archivists at the library and everybody else could jump in and help to try to find these faculty members, because obviously it was way back in the 70s and none of us were here at that time. Well, guess what? We found them. And one of the faculty members is 99 years old and the other is 85 or 86, something like that. And they're alive, of course. And so guess what? We're connecting that student, that graduate, with that faculty member. Isn't that kind of cool? And I think the other cool thing is how much he appreciated his education here. So for me, as I think about those kind of things, that's a privilege to serve as your president. And to be able to create and connect you with whomever you want to, whoever you need, to make sure that your mentors are forever in your mind, because we know it's the faculty and it's the staff that really make the difference for you in terms of your experience. Not to mention the experience that you're receiving right now as a part of the Student Senate, which you might not think is such a big deal right now. I guarantee you it's a big deal, and it will be a big deal the rest of your life. You just don't know that yet. So I see David Cowan in the audience, and David's been around a lot longer than me. But David, I'm getting close to where you are right now, and I'm not, I just want to encourage you to just stay on forever. You're a long 99 years of age at this particular point, but I think you got a few years left in you here. So everybody, let's not let him get away from us. So, my remarks aren't really so much about me. It's kind of the experience, and encourage you to take it all in. And by the way, I just did a presentation, a video presentation, and I was commenting to a group that we'll be speaking to this weekend about, how important it is for you as students to remember the difficulty that we've all been through. This last year is incredible. What we're going through now in the environment that we live in here in Minnesota, with racism running rampant and all the problems associated with that. You don't probably know how that will impact your lives going forward, but remember it, and you will. And you can tell simply by my age. I went through the Vietnam era. That's when I was a student, and I do remember that. So none of us are really that different in a way. When I talk about students, is that you all have your internal drive. That drive is what will make you who you are. And I just hope that we added those big ideas, that real thinking that helps you go beyond. I'm pretty sure we have, but we won't know for a while. So that's really my message to you. And I'm not going yet. I'm here until July 1, by the way. And some of my colleagues are probably thinking, God, when is that guy going to leave? But I'm going to leave. I promise I will. So anyway, with that, let me turn it back over to you and just see if you have any particular questions for me. I was told that you wanted me to talk about my time here at the university, when you know that I could very easily talk about more things about what's coming in the future, and I could talk about a lot of good things that people have done. But let me stop, because you're the ones that I will be remembering. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Kara or Andrew, whoever wants to jump in.
Yeah, thank you, President Davenport. Are there any questions or comments for President Davenport? Senator Mendonça.
Good afternoon, President Davenport. Thank you for your time these last few years. I say few years, but it's as long as I've been alive. I do have one question for you in the entirety of your time over here. What is one tradition that you've seen done really well by MSU that you'd like to see continue, or a tradition that you think should be made into one in the near future? And this is strictly out of curiosity.
No, that's a stumping question. It's a good question that causes me to think, because I'm sorting through all the different things that have occurred and changes that have been made. But I want to answer that in part by really giving a pat on the back to student government for making a lot of changes and for being there to try to help you make those changes, those traditions that you ask about. And I think about some of the things that you've done. I mean, the busing service, that was your idea, to create that transit system and to create the opportunity to elevate our university in terms of prestige in that way. The student leadership has been incredible. And some of you might expect me to say that, but I'm telling you it's the truth, because I've been on the board of trustees, sat through the board of trustees year after year after year. And guess who the student leaders have been? They have come from this university, the highest percentage, and I can back this up with sound evidence, the highest percentage have come from our university. And so I am really proud of that becoming a tradition. The MAVs are new big ideas, real world thinking, which is internal to who we are as Mavericks. That's a big tradition that sets us apart. And I think all the things that we do as we all love our university, and we have our own way of showing it. So that's what comes to my mind. So thanks for that. That's a good question, by the way.
Thank you. Senator Khan.
First of all, President Davenport, I would like to thank you for being an amazing leader, for being an amazing president. Just out of curiosity, I would like to know that after this, what do you have plans in future? What do you see yourself doing next?
Well, I will. That's the big question, and so I have a list this long of things that I want to do. So don't worry, I'm not going to be bored. But one thing I probably won't do, which is what a lot of retired people do, is they get in the kitchen and they learn how to cook. And my wife will not even let me close to the kitchen. If you've ever eaten anything that I've made other than chili, you'll never eat again. So I won't be taking up that particular thing. A few of you have been to the home, so you know that I have a real love of restoring old cars. And I've done that way before, even before I came here. So that'll be a part of what I do. And maybe someday a future student government president will invite me back to drive one of those old cars in the homecoming parade. So that would be kind of fun as well. Like so many people, we will travel. I've worked. I mean, you don't even think about work as work. You'll find that out if you're doing exactly what you want to do, if you love what you're doing. It's not at all work. And so this is a total coincidence because I started to work early. But when I got my first job at Iowa State University, I was pretty young. Actually, not much older than some of you as I look across the screen, as an assistant professor tenure track, which by the way would never happen today. It's just simply never going to happen. It's quite unusual. And so what turns out to be coincidental is that my last day here will be my 50th year in higher ed, exactly right to the day. I'm not lying to you, and we just figured it out. I mean, this is last week. We were doing some calculations and planning on, how we're going to spend our money and this and that. You did think I was going to give you all our money, right? So anyway, we just calculated the numbers, and I got the job on June. I got the job early, but the contract started on July 1, 50 years ago. And my first day of retirement is July 1. So yeah, I know you're all thinking he doesn't look that old, but a lot of people do think I do, truthfully, so that's a long time. That's just kind of a little thing that came out in the process of thinking back. So my wife wants to spend a lot of money. She loves spending money, by the way, and she's in the other room right now, so I will pay for this later, I know. So please, if some of you have a place for me to sleep, let me know. But she wants, and she's been encouraging us to buy an RV that we could actually take maybe 2 or 3 of you with us and travel around the country and just literally maybe come home once a year, maybe for homecoming or something like that. And you like that idea, huh? That's a couple of things we're going to do.
Count me in.
Yes. Let me stop there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Senator Mock.
Back to you.
Me? Right?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. At first, I want to thank you, President Davenport, for serving us for so many years and being such a great president to all of us. We are really glad that you have been with us for so long. My question to you would be, what is one advice do you want to give to all us student senators here in order to maybe do better in our lives, or maybe any advice you might have for us?
It's going to be different for each of you. Honestly, I mean, I can share a few things with you, but you may already be there. I mean, this may already be a part of who you are. And so I don't want to presume. But one thing that that's helped me at least is I've really tried to be humble. I've tried to hold my ego in check. And there's situations where I know I'm smarter than the person I'm talking to. And I know the person I might be talking to is wrong. And I know that I may have more experience. I know that. And just like you will all experience people that, you know what? Never show that side of you. Be humble. That will take you a long way in your careers. People love that quality. And that's not the only quality. Obviously, there's lots of different personality characteristics. I said in a speech just the other day, I said, listen and stay alert. By listening, you will learn. And whatever your career, it'll probably change along the way. There's no single thing that can serve you better than being a good listener. And I know that we all know what that means. And I understand that. But until you really listen well and learn to just take it in, you won't know until then. But that will help you because everybody loves a good listener. And besides all of that, you'll figure it out by listening, just like some of you have already. That would be, if I was to single something out, I would say that's a big deal. And one other thing too, I know you only asked for one thing, but one other thing I would say is gather friends around you. And don't let those friends get too far away. And making friends while it might seem easy, real friends, I mean, the more real friends you have, the better off you're going to be. And I know that over the years, you'll find out some people that you thought were really your friends, or maybe not your friends. Everybody experiences that. But, cultivate those relationships and don't leave people behind, keep them as friends forever. And that's a huge chore for everybody to make you a whole person.
Thank you so much, President Davenport. This is one of the, to be honest, some of the best lessons that somebody would at least advise me for, and for anybody, I would say. But thank you so much for all these words.
It's certainly my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments for President Davenport? Senator Gabbard.
Hi, yeah. Again, just wanted to thank you for everything that you've done for the university. And I have been working with your wife, Mary, for some Board of Regents work. So you can tell her I say hi. But yeah, is there anything you would like to advise the future student government on? Since we were just recently elected yesterday, is there anything you would advise?
Well, first of all, congratulations to our new officers. I should have said that right out of the chute. I think wave the flag high. We are the flagship state university. Don't ever let that get away. And I will tell you, I don't care if you're the president or dean or vice president, it starts with the students. And as student leaders, it's your opportunity to really jump out ahead and to really shine. And so that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And the rest will simply come to you. Don't be afraid to push the administration around. We like that sometimes. But you do have to challenge us. And, I think that makes us better as administrators when you do. Because, as you get older, we're thinking, our thinking is kind of goes in different directions, and we're looking at other things, and you have to remind us why we're here. And so I would like to introduce my wife, if you don't mind. Emma, thank you for mentioning that. She doesn't know this, by the way. She's out in the other room. Mary, are you out in the other room? Yeah. She's not going to come. I know she's so embarrassed. Hey, Mary, I want you to come and say a few words. She's dressed, so no problem there. I'm here at home. Oh, here, why don't you scoot over here? Tell me if you can you see her okay? Yeah. So is it true, Mary? Tell them, is it true about the kitchen and cooking?
Well, I think there's a difference between wanting to cook, wanting to learn how to cook, and being allowed in the kitchen or not.
Oh, that's funny. Well, yeah, I'm not a really good cook. I'll just be honest about that. So Mary, they're more interested in you than me, actually, because Mary has been truly a leader in her own right. And she was smart and retired as president a couple of years ago at Rochester Community College. And so, I would still be here with you, by the way. There'd be no question in my mind. She forced me to retire. It's her fault, if you want to blame anybody.
Well, I think
just kidding.
Anyone from Rochester Community College in the group? Nope. That's okay.
Well, there could be, but we can only see part of the screen. So we're only seeing a few people out there.
Well, you all do such a good job. I've watched the student government at MSU over my 30 years here. And you have great leaders. You have great advisors. It's just been wonderful to watch all of you and your group develop over the years. And I know that we're going to hear from you into the future. I just heard a presentation today that said you are our nation and our world's next generation of leaders, and that you are in terms of generations, going to be one of the best generations of leaders to come. So that was really great. I knew it, but to hear a so-called expert say that, be proud.
Yeah. Don't you wish you had her as your president rather than me? Isn't she good? She's really good, which of course rubs off on me just a little bit.
It works both ways.
So anyway, I just thought I always love to put her in a situation like this. But we, over the years, we've loved having you right here in our house. Those of you that have had the opportunity to do that, actually right where we're sitting and standing, because this has become my office for the last year, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
And all those photos up on the staircase, many of you experienced that. Unfortunately, most of you there in the audience didn't because of the pandemic this year, but we'll try to make up for it, right?
Well, best wishes and congratulations to all the grads.
Yeah, thanks, Marion. Yeah. Well, there you go. See, I'll pay for that later, but she's so good. I always think, geez, how did I get so lucky? Holy mackerel, really lucky. But I think that helps me to be a better president, learning from her. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you because I'm sure, Kara, I've gone way over my time here. So
I think after 19 years, you've earned as much time as you want in our meeting today. I do see one more question from Senator Stiff.
Yes. Again, thank you, President Davenport, for your work and time you put into the university over the years. I guess I have a two-part question, which is just what has been your favorite part in your 50 years in higher ed in general about your job? And then what's been your favorite part of working with student government and student leaders?
Well, that's it. You guys are really good about asking extremely difficult questions because there's no easy answer for anything that you've asked. Restate the question again. I'll try to come up with something that actually will be meaningful.
Yeah. So your favorite part in your 50 years in higher ed in general about your job, and then your favorite part of working with student government and student leaders.
Well, okay. The latter part of that question is, I think my favorite job is this. So I'll back up just a little bit. So when I was teaching for many years at Iowa State and Michigan, I love seeing the students. Part of why faculty teach and become professors is because of the daily contact with college students and because of the opportunity to influence them and to help them learn. And so as a professor, it's one of the best jobs in the world. There's no question about it. But what you might not know, it's one of the most difficult and one of the hardest jobs in the world because it requires constant preparation and awareness and study and research in your fields. And until you're a professor, you don't really know that. We kind of take it for granted. But the beauty of that is that you get reinforced every day by the involvement of the students, working with the students, honestly. And so that's what I miss. That's what I miss when I stopped teaching on a regular basis and went into administration. The higher up I went in administration, the less contact I had with students, frankly. And then you get to the point where you think, am I even connected to the world in which our students live today? Because it's different. For every generation, it's different. And then you have to ask yourself, am I meeting the needs of the students? Am I running the university for the students of today and not the students of yesterday? And that's really something I think that's very important that I think about. So therefore, having contact with student government is my only real contact with students, except for a few other opportunities. And that's what really I'll miss and what really makes this job, I think, exceptional. And for students, I think you are the ambassadors of this institution. And I don't think we can remind you enough about the importance of that. Even though this last year, unfortunately, with the pandemic and everything, you weren't able to really, demonstrate, to the full capacity, your ability to serve as an ambassador. So I don't think I actually answered all your question, but I tried to pick up part of it.
No, thank you. As the new leadership coming in, we really want to thank you for setting a precedent of inclusion as far as student leaders and hearing our voices. We know that is like immense, and we feel like we have a lot of authority as far as the way we are able to work with administration and people like you. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You're so young and I'm so old, and you can't remember what it was like 19 or 20 years ago when I came. But this is absolutely the truth. And my very first day on the campus as a president, and we have some of the vice presidents that actually just came about that time too, but my very first day, and I started walking around campus. And the one thing I noticed is, boy, this is a lot different than Michigan. And not better, not worse, just different. And I walked around campus and I thought, where are our students of color? Where are our international students? These were all Minnesota students, and they were all pretty much Caucasian students. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I thought we were a student for all, a university for all the people, for all families. And so many of you know Henry Morris, and Henry and I became friends and good colleagues. And even prior to Henry, there was Michael Faden. And those were individuals that worked closely with me to help us change the environment. And then I would say it was everybody jumping in, because we knew that if we were going to be the modern university, the university with big ideas and real thinking, we had to be in touch with the reality of the environment we were living. And so that became a number one priority, was to diversify the campus. We're not done. We're not even close to being done. But when you look back at that time, when we had maybe 3% underrepresented students, 4% at the most, you can imagine that it wasn't a real kind of a college experience. Today, we're happy to say about 24%, almost 1 out of 4 students, are students that come from all kinds of different backgrounds. And that enriches the lives of all of you. And not just our students that are coming from different backgrounds, but from the students that maybe come from more traditional white backgrounds or Caucasian backgrounds. And you should never underestimate the value, importance of that for all of you. Not just for Caucasian or white students, but for all students. It's so important, because that's the world in which we live. That's probably the biggest accomplishment, if there ever was an accomplishment under my reign, was to change that. And we're not done. And that means we're going to see that change pretty dramatically in years ahead. It's going to happen. And because students can come here, they come here, why? Because they feel safe. They come here, why? They can get a good education. They come here because they can learn to be leaders. They come here because all students are equal. Now, we have to do the same with our faculty and staff, and we need to broaden that group of mentors for you. So, that was a pretty long answer to your question, but it really is true, and I really believe it.
Thank you. Senator Hopwood.
Hi, President Davenport. Thank you for all your dedication to our university and making it better and like you said, more diverse, which I do see, being community advisor as well. I wanted to ask what continued your drive and like motivation throughout your years to continue being president and just like continue further in like your like occupation of like, continuing education and just in general. Because I feel like with COVID, I feel like a lot of people have so much drive and everything, but with COVID, it's sometimes hard for online classes or like hard to always, wake up every morning and know like, oh, I need to do this homework or I need to do this. So what is something that you could give advice to us to like help with making sure that, we can continue our like self like drive and motivation, to reach all of our goals?
Well, Audrey, it's going to be different for everybody. And I would say one thing, what it takes to keep you motivated and driven is not going to be the same for everybody. So I'll be honest with you about that. But I would say, this is going to be so cliche, keep your eye on the ball. And I think the other thing is you have to know in your head, in your heart, what you want to do. You have to know that. And if you don't know it right now, spend a lot of time trying to figure that out. And I think in my particular case, I was influenced by my brother-in-law, of all things. How many of you could even think about being influenced by a brother-in-law, for God's sakes? But my sister married relatively young, and she married a college student. She was not in college herself, nor did she end up finishing a college degree. But she married a student at the University of Nebraska who was a graduate student, he's an astrophysicist. And I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again because I think it helps answer your question. And by the way, he went on and developed the first space capsule and worked for NASA for about 30 years and became relatively famous for the research that he did. Anyway, his name was Larry. And so my sister, you can think of your siblings now, right? And this is my older sibling, did not want me around under her foot all day long in Lincoln, Nebraska, home of University of Nebraska. So she said to my uncle Larry, take him with you, for God's sakes, will you? So she did, and she dragged me all over the campus at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln every single day. And so I went with my brother-in-law to his classes. I had no idea what he was talking about. What did I know about astrophysics and related topics? I knew nothing. But I was so fascinated with the environment, and it caused this dream to develop, which was to work at a university, to be a college professor. That's what I wanted to do because, I looked up to him so much. And so you have to have your role models and you have to have your dreams, and they're going to be different for each of you, but don't give up on your dreams. I would say know what your dreams are. And if you don't know, spend some time figuring that out, because that's really what it was. I mean, that's what kept driving me. And little did I know that 12 years later, I was hired as the youngest professor at Iowa State University. Little did I know that. Nobody could predict that. I should have never gotten the job, really. And in today's market, I wouldn't. But you have to pursue your dreams. But before you can pursue your dreams, know your dreams. Know what they are. And that's really what I'm advising you to do.
Thank you.
You bet.
Are there any other questions from senators? Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Well, seeing no further questions, I would just like to say, President Davenport, we're so deeply grateful for not only all the time that you've put into the university, all of your life that has been dedicated to the students of Mankato, but also for taking more of your time today to come and speak with us and share all of your advice and wisdom. We are very, very grateful to have you with us here today.
Well, Kara, thank you. And thank you, everybody. I appreciate your staying tuned in and listening to an old guy ramble on and on, in fact, if you hadn't cut me off, I'd probably still be talking. Even if you put me on silent, put me on mute, I'd still be here blabbing away. But it's been my pleasure to work with this student government and with the leadership, all of you. Some of you I've had a chance to work more closely with. But thank you for inviting me. I'm going to miss all of you, but I do hope that you'll try to keep in touch. Yeah. Now you're going to have a new president before long and you'll forget me. But if you need help, if you need something in the future, I'll be easy to find. if you need a letter of recommendation or something on that order, you want to get into law school or whatever, I'm really ready to help you.
Thank you.
With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Kara. And then I think, Andrew, did you want me to stay for a minute?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you could stick around, we're going to restructure a couple things in our meeting quick. So on our agenda, we're going to go ahead and bump up our new business before we go into open forum. So is there any items of new business? President Trenny.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I'm going to share my screen. Where is it? Oh, geez. Give me a second to find it. I had it all pulled up. All right, so I have a motion and I sent it to Senate in advance and I'm just gonna read it word for word. So whereas President Richard Davenport has served Minnesota State University Mankato for the last 19 years as university president, and whereas President Davenport will be retiring July 1st, and whereas over the past 20 years in office, President Richard Davenport has increased student voices in the shared governance process and has always sought our input, and whereas President Richard Davenport will leave a strong legacy of being transparent, honest, and engaged and committed to the success of the university, and whereas the Administrator of the Year award has no significance in name compared to other two awards given out at the end of the year, be it resolved, the Administrator of the Year award shall be renamed to the Dr. Richard Davenport Administrator of the Year award, and then be it further resolved, this change takes effect immediately, and then be it further resolved, the student government, on behalf of the student body, wishes President Richard Davenport a happy retirement and thanks him for his long service to our institution. And it's moved by me and Vice President Maltari.
Wonderful. President Trenny, would you take a friendly amendment to change that to 19 years?
Yeah, sure.
How many years did you have down there?
20, almost 19.
Well, only if I'll tell you, before you vote on this, can I tell you a little story?
Sure.
So I've been here 19 years, right? And so the chancellor, you all know Devendra Malhotra, you know who he is. He put out a major press release when I announced that I was retiring, right? And he put out this press release and said, why we congratulate President Davenport for his 18 years of service. So don't feel bad, all right? And so then I picked up the phone and I called him and I said, hey, Devendra, because we've been friends a long time. I said, hey, you messed up, you screwed up. I've been here 19 years, not 18 years. He said, oh, Richard, I'm so sorry. I really feel bad about that. And I said, I think the least you can do is pay me for an additional year's salary.
Make up for it. Well, if we have 20 years and he has 18, somewhere it'll all even out between the press releases. So hopefully we just take the average. Are there any points of discussion on this motion? President Trenny.
Yeah, if I can continue. I didn't say anything before, but I just want to say thank you, President Davenport. I've been lucky to know you and work with you for about 2.5 years now as Vice President and President. And when I tell Senate, President Davenport is the nicest person you'll ever meet. He is truly the nicest person you'll ever meet. I've come to know you a long time, and you've really encouraged our voices and really taken us as serious bargaining unit partners. Other universities, they don't do that as strongly as we do here. And my favorite story, by the way, is last year at homecoming. President Davenport and his wife, Mary, you guys took us around in your little buggy. And that was just the best experience we've ever had. Just driving around campus during homecoming because the parade got canceled. And so truly, I think the university will be lost without you. And so I just wanted to, say thank you on me and really appreciate what you've done and all the mentorship you've done for me as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other points of discussion? 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 Seeing no further points of discussion, we are going to go ahead and move to a vote. Is there any dissent to the motion to change for the Administrator of the Year award name change? Any dissent? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, I assume unanimous consent, and this motion does pass. So congratulations, President Davenport, on an amazing reign, and also on this new award named in your honor.
Well, thank you. I'm honored. I was worried I wasn't going to get the votes there for a minute, you know. But thank you so much, and I'm honored to receive this award. And if there's anything in writing or a piece of paper or whatever, I promise to frame it and put it on my wall. But thank you. It's been my pleasure over the years working with you. This is one of my favorite classes, and I know you're all going to do well. And as I said, I'll leave you now to finish up your meeting, and I thank you for this recognition. But if you need help, you know, in the years ahead, you can call me. Wonderful.
Can we take a picture real quick? President Trenny, do you know how to do that?
Yeah, I think I just print screen, right? Emma G can also help me.
I don't know. I'm hoping.
If senators could turn their camera
side or what? Which is? Are you taking a picture of me?
Well, of everyone.
You want to get in there?
Oh, okay. Oh, there's Mark Johnson. Mark, look, you know, straighten up.
I just took some screenshots, so we're good.
Okay. Andrew, do you want me to go in your office?
Yes. Thank you, President.
Well, thank you, everybody. Have an enjoyable summer once you get through graduation. I mean, once you get through your classes this year, and we'll come back. Things I promise will be different in the fall. All right.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so I understand that this is not really in accordance with Robert's rules, but in the interest of making the rest of this meeting make sense, we're just going to jump back to open forum and then go back. So that's the new plan. So we're going to go ahead and move on to open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? I have Martin J. Caruso first.
Great. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to invite everyone to join us tonight for the fourth night of the Mankato Adventure Speaker Series hosted by Maverick Adventures. Our guest tonight is going to be Daryl Arsdorf. Daryl is a local cyclist. He's been a fixture in the Mankato cycling community for decades, and he has ridden the Ride Across Minnesota for 31 years straight. And this year is going to be his 32nd. So he's going to be talking about his past 3 decades of experiences with that event. We're going to be going live on our Facebook page at 7 p.m. And I'll put the link to that in the chat. So hope to see some of you there. Should be fun. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here for open forum? Vice President Johnson.
Promise I'd come back and give you a quick update for summer. So this will be our final discussion with this group for summer. And Matt Clay's ready. We're going to try to do this in like 3 minutes, but we're going to give you a quick snapshot with slides of what our summer plans are. And really it's because of all of the support that we've had from you that we'll be able to do some of these things. And we hope to hear from you as we do the presentation, and hope to hear from you if you see anything that catches your eye or is interesting to you. So go for it, Matt. Oh, I meant to tell you, the President Davenport asks all kinds of questions. I don't get asked a lot of questions, but I do have an answer to one of those questions. What's your best advice? Best advice I give you, buy low, sell high. I try to do that, and I'm hoping for retirement someday soon. I haven't always done it, and that's the reason I'm still here as long as I've been. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Matt.
I don't know how I can follow that. All right, so this is a real quick view to give you a little insight into what we're thinking for the summer. Typically over the summer, we do a lot of classroom updates and computer lab updates, and we'll be doing those. But we're also going to add some things that are, I think, exciting just from what we've learned in this last year. So learning spaces, we're going to do a FlexSync 2.0. So we have roughly 300 classrooms on campus with technology in them. Half of them have FlexSync equipment. And we have heard from the students and the faculty, but very much the students, that there are 2 things that are missing from the classrooms right now, and that is microphones for the students in the classroom. The students online can't always hear, and then a projector that shows you who's online in the class in the front of the room. So we're going to be working on putting those two big updates in our classroom so that we can make the rooms just a little bit better. And that's based on all of your feedback and many other groups. So I thank you for all of that. That's helping us make good decisions. And so here's kind of a quick example as we're trying to figure out where in the classroom that might work. You know, instead of taking up the whiteboard, could it be on the side? Could it be on the front? We don't know yet, but it's going to be exciting even when we don't know, because we're going to be surprised when we get there. One other thing that we're looking at is looking at large auditoriums that might be fully online. Some kind of cool ideas that we're putting up on the wall for spaces for people to teach in. So these are just some thought starters. Another big thing that we're working on is we have our formal learning spaces, which is the classroom. And then we have a lot of informal learning spaces. And we found feedback-wise that those are virtually almost as important as the classroom experience when you're talking to your friends before and after class, where you're working on group work. And so we're trying to figure out how we can make those spaces a little bit better for you. And one of the things that you're gonna start seeing around campus is these smaller little booths where you can go in and have you can enter it for a class. You can go in there to talk to your advisor. You can have a lot of different meetings in there, but you'll be able to leave a class and go into it really quickly on your own. One of the big challenges we heard from students is that they might have one class that they're face-to-face and then one that's online, and they can't get from one to the other fast enough. This is one of our responses to try and get you to where you can stay on the campus where we know you'll have good internet and be able to go to class and still have some privacy and interaction with your class without a whole bunch of noise around you. So you'll start seeing these pop up as we get closer to the school year starting next year. And then the last thing for us is we'll be doing a lot of computer lab upgrades. But the big thing for all of you, many of you who are off campus, we're going to expand our Mav labs. There'll be more computers that are online for you to log into and use the software. And then we'll continue to find ways to get Adobe and other pieces of software into your hands so you can use them on your own computers and you don't have to just figure out a way to use the campus computers. So that is a very quick, brief overview of what we're doing. Any questions or ideas? I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, hopefully I can hear them later.
Are there any questions? Senator Stiff.
Yeah, my first question is, I'm a double major, so one of my majors is mass media, and it's really helpful to have that like Adobe software on our computers, and I know you said you're planning on expanding it. So will that apply to like all students or just still specifically for like mass media majors?
Well, we will for sure be doing it for those who need it for their degree programs. And that's a lot of that's how we made our decisions before, is working with the faculty. There's always the possibility of expanding it to more. And so what I'm hearing from you is feedback is, let's see if we can do that. And we will.
And let me add, student leaders, bring to our attention anybody that has a need like that, and we'll address that need. In this case, we do have enough licenses to handle it, but we don't always know who needs it. We don't have enough for 15,000 people, but we do have enough, like if you need one, we're definitely going to be able to help you find it. Or if somebody brings to your attention a group or a class, let us know and we'll address that specifically. Now that's on the Adobe, but on other things, we definitely want to know about it and we'll try to make the adjustments.
Yeah, and I'm already working with some of you like Edward. We've already had a discussion trying to figure out some of the engineering and other software that needs to be there for everybody. So thank you.
Can I have a follow-up, speaker?
Yes.
All right, my second question was that I think it's a great thing that we're like expanding FlexSync, because I think for some students it's really worked. I know you guys talked about summer plans, but do you see like FlexSync and like online capabilities continuing into the fall?
Yeah, I think that FlexSync was a solve for the issue of the pandemic, but moving forward as the student body becomes traditionally non-traditional is what we've been saying. More and more students need to be able to go home for a little while. They need to work. They need to be with their families. Just the work-life balance. We feel that as we move forward in the future, everything that we're doing here is going to help students be successful and continue to stay in school and come to school in ways that they couldn't before. So I think that everything that we're doing now is looking towards the future of how do we serve the students the best.
And let me add too that next fall is a transition time from where we are to where we're going to be going. And so we'll have even more FlexSync than we might normally have, but FlexSync and the concepts and the way we're using them, we hope to continue with a lot of these ideas in mind. How do we meet the unique needs of our students? And so we're partnering with the academic folks and we're working our way through that. But for sure in fall, a lot of that will still be available to people because we don't know exactly where it's going to be at.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Hopwood.
I don't know if you can answer this question or not, but I just had a question about like what the professors and like how it's like the FlexSync and stuff like that, and how we might be going back to normal in the fall, but like some classes may still be online. How you said like students are becoming more non-traditional, like how you said like people need to work and do other things, so they're not always being able to come to like class in person. But at least for me, I'm a bio major, and sometimes I experience that due to the classes being online, the professors have been making the classes harder, it seems like, even though the class is already hard, but because it's online, they think that it's not, since it's not traditional, like they think that, you know, it needs to be harder because students aren't like learning. And sometimes it gets even more frustrated because it's already a difficult course. So like, how do you think that that situation may be tackled? I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but I'm just
Vice President Johnson, if you want to answer that, otherwise that might be a question kind of better suited for Dr. Beltzos or something like that. But if
I was going to answer it, but my answer was going to be Dr. Beltos knows way more about than I do. So I was going to do it that way. I will say this though. I want to say this. We are partnering with the academic team and we are talking about many of these issues and we're going to try to sort that out. So it's a partnership. And Jennifer knows a lot about that partnership and she's instrumental, but we are understanding that there are some issues. I'm not saying that issue I haven't heard before, but there are issues and we're working our way through in partnership with the academic team. But Jennifer, do you have anything to add to that specific question or?
Sure. I thank you for the invitation to weigh in. I do work very closely with Matt Clay. Mark and I are in contact quite a bit, and he is definitely a partner with academic affairs. But this particular question that you've asked is an academic question, and we have heard those same concerns. I hate to sound like a broken record, but this is an unusual year, and your instructors did not have a whole lot of background in online teaching. They were doing the best they can. I taught online for about 10 years, and it took several years before I felt comfortable with it. So I've had a lot of sympathy for what they were thrown into. But we do hear what the students are saying. The Council of Deans observed one FlexSync course on Monday. We're observing another FlexSync course on next week, so that we can get a better sense of the student experience. And the other thing that I'll say is, in addition to trying to better understand what you all are going through, we're also really encouraged that we will be back on campus in the fall. The faculty will be back in their comfort zone. There certainly will continue to be a lot of flexibility, but we do hope that you are in the classroom as often as you can, as much as you feel comfortable, of course. That's where we do our best. And then we have support systems in place to help people get better at the online teaching part of it. But I think we shoved people, we pushed them really hard, really fast. And they need more time to get better at it.
Well, so that definitely helped, because I just know sometimes it gets difficult when we're not even used to it. So it's just like, great, now we feel like this class that we're into is already like an upper division course. So why does it need to be harder when some students don't even learn very well online? So I'm happy to know that it's definitely getting like addressed and looked at.
It's that we do now have 12 years of students with online experience that are going to be coming to campus. Because basically all of K-12 had some experience that was online. And so we do need to talk and train and get people to be the best that they can be. So we'll get there.
I can also assure you that assistant CIOs will get new microphones this year too. Matt's microphone is terrible. I don't know what's going on, but I hope you can hear him okay.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you. Is there anyone else here for open forum? Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, we're gonna go ahead and move on. We have nothing on the approval of the consent agenda, so we're gonna jump right into officer reports. President Trenny.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I came this time with a document instead of me just saying a bunch of dates so people know. A couple events coming up that, again, for everyone in the room, including administrators to know, next Thursday, April 22nd at 4 p.m., that's a Thursday next week, we'll be having our inauguration for next year's leaders, and that'll be in the CSU Ballroom, Zoom hybrid option if you want to watch. We'll also be live streaming it on social media. Please RSVP to amber.ends@mnsu.edu because we are ordering food, or we have ordered, and we just need to know numbers. And then it's a business casual event. So for those swearing in, if you're not swearing in, you don't have to dress however, but it's encouraged business casual because photos will be taken. You'll be on the screen if you're swearing in. So just come kind of business casual. And then the student government banquet is next Wednesday, 2 weeks from now on Wednesday, April 28th. That'll be starting at about roughly 5:30 p.m. and that'll be in the CSU Ballroom as well. Now I will note for those that are returning next year, you will have a Senate meeting that day. And it's not going to go until 6. You're only electing the speaker anyway, so it should be done by 5-ish. So just be aware of that and please plan accordingly. So I'd be ready to go and leave and come to campus right after your meeting so you can come. We won't be starting the program right away at 5:30, just the food will be starting at 5:30. And then you do need to RSVP because we do need to know a head count for food because it is per person, not just a random number of food we're ordering. So you need to either fill out the RSVP on Engage, and again, I can post that in the chat below, or email amber.enz@mnsu.edu that you are coming. If you have already filled out the Engage form, you're good to go. Again, we need that for food because it's priced per person, so we need to know how many people are coming. If you don't RSVP and you come in there, you're gonna be last in line for food. And if there's no food, sorry. And again, business casual as well. We'll be giving out awards there. And that's kind of an internal Senate thing. And admin, you have been, so the admin administrators in the room, you've also been invited. So please respond to that email as well. We do need to know that amount. We placed the order today for 40 people-ish, but we need to know for sure how many people so we can place that correct order. Our last meeting as a Senate is next Wednesday. Again, still come to that. We'll be having some last items to do. To be fully transparent, I think we're going to be doing a food pantry resolution next week because that's been requested to me to do that. So we'll have some other business, and that'll be in our last meeting. And then there's no more. If you haven't been reelected, that's your last meeting. That's it. Now, the only caveat as well is your transition reports are due that day at midnight. Now, we can obviously extend that because nobody here has turned them in. Those are on Engage. The format is also on that Engage poll or that Engage form. And if you don't do it, your grad cords are going to be revoked. And I can show real quick. I'll go over the format for the thing just because there's been a lot of questions on that. 1 second. And I did just get a nice message from Speaker's Reversal saying, sad last meeting. You have a whole nother year, girl. Let's see. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to go over the format real quick for the transition reports. Again, everyone has to do it, even if you're coming back next year. It's a good practice to reflect on the year and then write in what you advise to yourself again or people down the year. This is an unusual year, by the way. COVID doesn't happen, pandemic doesn't happen. So close the book on this year and write in what you want people from the future years to know about this year. So for senators, it's your name, your position, and any committees you're involved in outside of your position, things you wish you knew before becoming a senator. Start, continue, stop list. So what should you start? What ideas do you think are tangible to do in a year? What should a project you've been working on that you want to continue? And what's something you want to stop, right? And what I mean by stop is like, if you've already worked it out and it can't happen or whatever, just put stop, right? You don't want your successor coming into your shoes and saying, I like this idea, let's do this, but you've already done the work and figured out you can't do it. So it's helping them be more effective. Future goals, ideas you wish you tried, and think you should have started, and then good contacts for positions. So your dean, anyone in your college you found good, RSOs, those are good contacts. And then last, any tips/advice. And then coordinators as well. You do have to do separate ones. So you do your Senate one if you're a senator, and you do a separate coordinator one if you're a coordinator. And please have them be separate documents so we can upload them to Teams appropriately. And upload them into this form first. I will do the legwork and put them in Teams. And then things to ponder down here is like, how did COVID-19 affect your duties and what should people know for the future? And then I'm going to be John for a moment. What is your legacy, right? So these documents are your projects. What have you done? What have you worked on? What do you want to be known for 5 years from now when senators in 5 years look back at what we did this year and at what Senator Hopwood did as a Res Life senator, or Senator Wheeler did as a senator, right? They can look at your specific report and see what you did. So put your time into it. You want people to reflect and be like, wow, Jack did a lot in office, or Senator Nelson did a lot for off-campus housing. So you really want to put your time into it. And then imagine when you came into this position, how much you didn't know. And so put that information in this report so your successors can bridge that gap, that knowledge gap. So that way next year, they don't have to start off fresh. They should know as an off-campus senator what it's like, or what are the things you did to be a good one, right? So please put your time into it, and then you'll just upload them into this form. Senators will go in this one, and then coordinators will go down here as well. So that's what I was going to say. So please put your time. Oh, someone did turn in the report. Okay. I didn't see it, so but it's okay. But again, just do it by next Wednesday. If you have questions, let me know. Oh, and then the last thing, I do need more for pedal past poverty. I forgot that it's April 24th, I think. Yes, April 24th, I believe. I'll put it in the chat, but I do need more people to go. So I yield.
Are there any questions for President Trenny? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Seeing none, Vice President Multari.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to say congratulations to new administration of student government who's coming in here. I don't have a lot of things from an update, but yeah. So Reflection Space Task Force met on Thursday. We are still working on our charge, and we are having discussions about how the things would look like. Another update I had was President's Commission on Status of Women had their banquet yesterday, and they handed awards for Women of Courage and Vision to the ladies who were nominated, women who were nominated, and just a little sort of appreciation they have every year from Women's Center. And then we had budget submit and confer, where we talked about mostly budget, of course, as the name says, and about tuition. We are mostly wrapping up all our documents on all the projects we have done over the year. President Trenny and me, we both have been talking about what should we transition to the new people, Kara and Rihanna, of course. And yeah, with that, I yield.
Thank you. Any questions for Vice President Multari? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, moving on to mine. I just have a couple of things for you guys today. The first is that I would encourage all of you to reach out to your deans, because hopefully you should have been meeting with them all year. So if you guys could go ahead and thank them for the work that you've done with them, and also maybe CC the new senators and introduce them and kind of pass the torch. I think that would be a nice handoff both for administration to have some kind of continuity and also like a nice wrap up for you guys. So I would highly encourage you all to do that. Other than that, I don't have a lot. Just make sure you guys are RSVPing, like Trini said, and come join us for Pedal Past Poverty. President Trini volunteered me, so now I want to volunteer you guys, and we can race. It'll be fun. My only other thing is our Dean of the Day. We have Dean Loyoza with us here today. So if you'd like to speak and also maybe give some insight as well on what Senator Hopwood brought up from kind of a dean perspective.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'd be happy to. So I think, hey, before I forget, because I don't want to click off and then, just an hour from now I'll be. So first of all, congratulations to all the seniors. This has been, I don't even know what the word is, a different, interesting, difficult, challenging year. All of those, yeah. So I think leverage that to your advantage, because I think when you're coming out and going on the job market, or applying to grad schools or going to grad schools, you can, we're not out of it yet, but you have gone through a very, very disorienting experience and come through it. So congratulations on that and on the upcoming commencement from MSU. And also let me say a quick thanks to Reddy Ibarra and Youssef El Asadi, our two SBS senators for the past year. Really had a good time having lunch and just interacting and talking about various issues concerning the college of the university. I believe Youssef is graduating, so congratulations to him. And we'll look forward to seeing Reddy in psych classes next year. I think as far as overall reflections on the past year, I think for all of us, faculty, staff, students, everyone, the big common denominator, I think, is perseverance. I don't think you could just say, oh, the whole year has been terrible. I think it's more like it's been a roller coaster. I've talked to my own kid about his college experience, and there's some weeks where he's on top of the world. He's nailed a couple of research papers or exams or something. And then, 3 days later, I'll talk with him and he's ready to quit school, so it's really, it's what day you catch someone on and get a sense, but that makes it more difficult because I think, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of stress that goes along with it. And I'm not saying, hey, and that's everyone else. I mean, I've experienced that to a limited degree as well, but not nearly to the extent that you as students have. And so I think just to quickly address the question regarding, faculty concerns about how they're managing Zoom online and all that. I think this will echo what Jennifer Veltzos said, but I think number one, the administration is looking to provide a lot more training for faculty members. We've done that really since about the summer, but we're going to continue to do that. I mean, you play like you practice, right? So the more opportunities that we can get to provide training for faculty, I think the better off we'll be. So we're looking to do that. We have some people that right from the about midsummer jumped in as part of our, I don't know if you guys have heard it by name, but it's called a faculty peer coaches program. So, basically, people that were really experienced and were comfortable with things like FlexSync and online, basically volunteered to help out their colleagues within the particular college and sometimes outside the college, just to give them tips on how to do things. And we're going to look to expand that. I think in some respects, it's not even a matter, there probably are some limited cases where a particular person might just not be all that familiar with technology. I think in the case of FlexSync in particular, it's more how the entire experience is different. Before I was dean, I used to teach in the history department, and I do guest lecture for one of my classes. And, I just found it was fine to do a guest lecture as a one-shot deal, but I think doing it over the course of the semester, I could see where I would have difficulty with just things like the general interaction that you don't have in a regular classroom. So I think for some faculty, that was just a very disorienting experience. And then, by the end of the semester, when for a lot of the flexing classes, you'd have a diehard core of 5 or 6 maybe attending. That just makes it tougher on everyone. I think it makes it tougher on the students, and it does make it more difficult for faculty to teach. So we're also, as a university, having discussions on how we can just make that whole experience better for everyone. Part of that, I think, is going to be what can we do as an administration, talking to faculty members about clarifying expectations for students. So that's where I think we can have that dialogue. We talk to students and can really say, all right, well, here's what the expectations are going to be. And in setting those expectations for students, I think that's also where we have that discussion with faculty to really just, I think, put guardrails, I guess I'd call it, and just making sure that your average, just to pick a class I used to teach, U.S. history survey, doesn't all of a sudden morph into, a PhD, grad seminar in history level of difficulty kind of thing. So we're certainly working on it, and we'll continue to do so over the spring and the summer. And we'll definitely look to include your input and your thoughts to make sure that we have student perspectives on that. And I think finally, too, as we head into the fall, as has been described before as a transition year, we are looking to provide a variety of formats. So we're hoping that we have a good set of choices as far as synchronous and asynchronous online, FlexSync, and some face-to-face offerings too, because FlexSync, I think, has served us really well in the pandemic, but it's not for everyone. So in cases where it does work and it's going to serve students, we'll have that option. In cases where really it looks like for a variety of reasons, face-to-face might be a better methodology, we'll have those course offerings. And then certainly there are places where just the general asynchronous online or flexible or synchronous online has served us pretty well. So we're hoping that, for if you haven't registered yet, or if you have, you've seen those different options and look to have a good variety for you that will suit different student needs. And I think that probably, like I said, I don't want to go too far on and on. I don't get to lecture much anymore. And sometimes I click back into that mode and I'm ready to talk for hours. So, but anyway, thanks for having me again. And thanks for all of your work as student government over this past year. You're a great group, and we look forward to working with those of you that are going to be moving on, or certainly the new leadership. And as you noted before, it looks like we're going to have to score up a couple of new SBS senators for next year. So thanks very much, and best of luck with the rest of the semester.
Thank you. Are there any questions for me or Dean Loaiza? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move on. Thank you again. So next up on our agenda, we're going to drop down to Senator reports. Drop down in the agenda. So Senator Flynn, I have you up first.
Thank you. So I'm just going to fly through mine a little quicker than one would expect. So a lot of what I've been doing still is one-on-ones with students, helping them figure out how to navigate things in a newly different world of e-learning and all of the complications that come with, trying to get resources when everything's all, I guess the only word I can use is different. It's, yeah. Going forward, I'm happy to see with the election we filled a lot of our seats, and that has me less concerned about next year. But something that's always been in the back of my mind is a concern about student leadership for the successive years. And I'm a little worried about next year. Now, given that we have a good slate, but as the dean previously mentioned, there's no senators for social behavioral sciences. I'm hoping we can get those filled, first few meetings next year. But that's going to take some work from us too. We got to encourage others to join these leadership positions next year, and that's something I'm hoping to focus more on next year, because after COVID and everybody being not here, we need to focus on getting new student leaders in, because we're kind of going to hit a little bit of a dip there. And I think my senator report wasn't supposed to be about this, but this is something that's kind of been on my mind for the past few days. And yeah, I just want to encourage all my fellow senators to reach out to people who you think might be good leaders and give them a little nudge to take the risk and go for positions. And with that, I'll yield.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Flynn? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Senator. Next up, I have Senator Nelson.
Hey everybody, mine's really short. I'm just looking forward to wrapping up the next couple of weeks with all of you, and I'd like to congratulate the newly elected senators and leadership. And I hope everyone finishes out the semester on a good note, and congrats to my fellow graduates.
Thank you. Any questions for Senator Nelson? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Senator Novak.
Howdy, everyone. So for my senator report, lately specifically, I've been doing a lot of stuff dedicated to like the election. So that's kind of been what I've focused on for the last 2 weeks or so. But outside of that, I've been also working on a couple of other projects. Not a whole lot has changed since the last time I updated you all on the LGBT learning community. We are still waiting to present that in October, getting all of that ready so that we are able to present then and hopefully continue with that. That is something that I anticipate continuing with next year, as I very thankfully was given the opportunity to continue to serve as a senator for next year. Another thing that I had been working on and continue to work on is reassessing guest policy, which is something that I have been in communication with Cindy Janey about. Our last meeting for the semester to really just discuss that and talk about how we are potentially going to be maybe looking back into that over the summer, or like seeing what things worked and what things didn't work, is going to be tomorrow. That is our last meeting to discuss that. So we will get into the last little nitty gritty things about guest policy. Other than that, a lot of what I've been doing since my last senator report has been working within RHA and working to help RHA complete all of the things that it necessarily needed to do. So that has been a big task that I've been working on. And I have started to look into a potential project for next year that I'm thinking of pursuing, which is that next year I would really like to tackle the Wi-Fi issues within the residential halls, as well as seeing if it is possible to get there to be protections for students who are unable to complete tasks due to Wi-Fi issues, and to see if it is possible to encourage teachers to offer extensions for those grounds if there are widespread Wi-Fi outages, or to just have students very aware of Wi-Fi help if necessary. That will be all for my senator report. I will yield.
Thank you. It looks like there's a question from Senator Vondra.
I have a couple, like a comment and a question, I guess. For starters,
question.
Okay, I was going to start with the comment, but Senator Novak, you mentioned the working on something in regard to the guest policy. Could you elaborate on that?
Right. So specifically, this is something that originally had to do with COVID, but I believe has since then grown into something more of just an overall look back at the guest policy rules. And that came up when through RHA, a lot of representatives brought up that they were quite unhappy with current specific parts about guest policy, like the no overnight guests and the one per person rules, which were specific to COVID. But while getting into those, me and Cindy had some discussions related to that, which Frank, you were there for a couple of those. And we sort of wanted to overall just look at some of the rulings there to bring about what is the best way to go forward with students on that. And we will be talking about potentially what things may need to be adjusted or what things may need to be changed coming out of COVID and how we will be adjusting to that more tomorrow.
Okay, and then my comment, if I may go, I'm sorry, is concerning your Wi-Fi part of your report. I do know that in the Academic Affairs Committee this semester, we discussed the idea of Wi-Fi. I cannot talk today. I'm sorry, everybody. When set, it's because of the Wi-Fi in the dorms of professors perhaps not having, like counting that against attendance policy and those kinds of things. And so that might be, going forward, that might be something you could look into. So, and with that, I yield.
That's a good thing to add to the platform, also taking that into account with attendance during Zoom calls. I also know that this was something that Senator Flynn had looked into in the past as well. So next year, I hope to be in communication with you a lot more about this as I go forward with that project. Of course, this is still just in the fledgling stages, as I'm stating that this is something that I hope to work on in the future. That is all. If there are any other questions, I can answer those.
Are there any other questions for Senator Novak? Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Senator. So next we have, let's see. Oops, I lost my agenda. Okay, Senator Nemo.
Hi guys. Oh, you said Senator Nemo, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So the one thing I wanted to talk about today is my interactions with the Graduate Student Association, which is the RSO for grad students, and how hopefully during the summer and next year we would be planning more events for grad students, especially hoping that we're going to have activities on campus and what that would look like, because we weren't really active this past year. And so I wanted to tell senators that if you're graduating this year and going into grad school at MNSU, please get involved with Grad Students Association, because one thing we're looking for is have more grad students be engaged on campus. Thank you.
Good. Wonderful. Any questions for Senator Nemo? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Senator. Next up, I have Senator Osman. Senator Osman?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can.
All right, sorry, I had some issues with the audio. So thank you. I just have a short update. So one of the projects I've been working on was to change the curriculum for the aviation management students. And going into this, I knew it was going to be taking more than a year to resolve that issue. But I'm glad to say that this year, they took this into consideration and they are taking a step to change that. They are looking into a couple of the upper level aviation classes, and they are looking into switching into more management classes. So I hope to see that change next year, and that's all I have for today.
Wonderful. Are there any questions for Senator Osman? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Believe that is all we have today. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to vacancies. We do technically have a residential life spot available, but seeing as last week is our last meeting, it would be kind of silly, but I guess it does remain available. I'm also here to announce the speaker will be vacant and we'll be having that election on the 28th. That's also weird to announce for me, but it's true. So if you know people, encourage them to apply on Engage. Moving on to new business, we have the, oh, perfect, President Training put it in. We have the technology roundtable motion, and so I believe Senator Khan is here to speak on that. Senator Khan?
Yes. Do I have access to share my screen?
You should.
All right. So I'm going to try to make this as brief as I can. So sorry if I take a lot of time. I'll be talking about the Student Technology Fee Committee, and I'll be talking about the strategic plan for next year. It involves 5 elements. Student and faculty success is the number one. The number one thing we talked about, all of these objectives and planning came from what we worked on in the Tech Fee Committee this year, and this is basically the plan of what we hope to do next year. So develop a student IT solutions student liaison position to work with committee, student government, and ITS to be more aware of technology and initiatives that IT Solutions is working on, promote Tech Fee Committee participation, and represent IT Solutions in student committees. So basically, this will be a technology integration person who will be partnering with IT Solutions and student government and making a communication and a connection between the two, and basically making sure that all the technology integration on campus is getting voted on by the students. Students are aware of it, and it's something that students want. The next thing is a classroom is a student space, find ways to get students more involved into the classroom. So basically having classrooms available to students even after the class hours. Promote open education resources so students and faculty are well aware that it is available and how to use and develop material to save students money on textbook. We have talked a lot about it in our academic affairs meetings, and this is something that we also have, we also would like to see happening, and we have talked a lot about it in our Tech Fee Committee. So this is our goal for next year. Then find ways to improve creation of instructional videos and lectures so on-demand content can be available and that it is easy for faculty to maintain. Lead the university to try to develop 4-year pre-developed plan for class schedules to help students navigate their course registration. Michael has some ideas on how to get that. Again, this is something we have talked a lot about in our academic affairs meetings and our Tech Fee Committee meetings. Spend a lot of time with students to figure out student financial aids and have some ideas on how to make this simpler and help students navigate college affordability. Have some step-by-step videos on that. Improve the Map Life app to add functionalities that will keep the students engaged with the app. There's a whole bunch of things that we plan on adding to the app. This document was already shared with the Senate, so I'm hoping that you guys did go over it. I'm going to skip on some of the things because we don't have that much time. All students need to be aware of the available technology and how to use it. Standardize this information so everyone can get the information. So basically our plan is to, there's a lot of resources that we have from IT Solutions as a student for free, but a lot of students are just not aware of it. So maybe just working on more of awareness for the technology among the students. continue ongoing partnership with RHA to encourage incoming students to use ITS services and be aware of what we have available. Again, something that we talk about in all our committee meetings, and we would like to encourage that next year. Our next element is diversity and inclusion. Staff will be knowledgeable and trained in best practices to provide exemplary services to the students, train ITS staff and student employees with how to manage difficult customers, recruit, train, and develop a diverse team of employees. The next element is innovation and partnerships. Work to design exciting presentations for orientation and other opportunities. When we could get in front of a large group of students, there should be an extended focus on graduate students and transfer students. Ensure that the campus technology resources like FlexSync are available to commuting students with disabilities, students taking mental health days, students with issues communicating, and students completing online courses and programs. Investigate a way that central site for information or on research opportunities can be available for students to apply and learn on how they can be involved in research. Rename ACC for something that can be resonate with students and draw them in. Again, that's the ideas that we all have in Visiting Hall. It's called ACC. I don't know why, and I really appreciate the idea of having to change that. And then there's a whole bunch of other things that I'm not going to go into again because we don't have that much time. Operational excellence, continue assessment on all services that are offered to students and determine if they are still needed and change to make better, and resource new services that are needed and retire services that are no longer needed. So again, the softwares that there's new softwares that students need and some softwares that students don't need. So maybe like going into that, saving money and getting newer stuff. Expand chat service for students, virtual assistant, BOT, and AI. Work on getting identity management system. Again, I'm hoping that all of you guys went through all of these things that we shared in the document. I will take any questions.
Perfect. Are there any questions for Senator Khan? Any questions? Any questions? Senator Novak.
Howdy. This is related to the part in there where you said that you were interested in working with RHA on the future. Is that something that you would like to accomplish within the next year, or is that something that you're interested in working with the RHA for this year? In which case, if you want, I can bring that to the attention of the RHA exec board.
It's coming from next year, we're just left with one meeting. So yeah, next year we do plan on working with RHA. Personally, why I wanted to do that so much, and that is where that technology integration liaison position came out from, was the problem with Wi-Fi in the dorms. So we really want to see student engagement in all of the decision making. So yes, that is a goal.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. That was my question.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions?
Can I have a question?
Senator Pham.
So I heard that you've been working with the IT solution and you like help a lot with the creation of, but so on international student, we was like looking for a walkthrough video program for, not program, but to help students when they first transfer, like where they can utilize more of the campus's services. So I wonder if you going to work on that in the future. Is that what you mentioned?
Yeah, one of the goals were to work on improving services for grad students and transfer students. So that is definitely one of the goals. If there, I can yield to Mark or Brian if they want to talk in more detail about what they're planning on doing. I know this is one of our goals. to make these services available for grad students and transfer students, because we see a lot of times these students not being able to take full advantage or not being aware of all of these services.
Yeah, we're actually, go ahead.
Oh, my apology. I would say that is amazing.
Yeah, and I would love to see if Mark wants to add on that.
No, the only thing I'll add to that is the Technology Roundtable, which is another group of folks. We're going to present to them in about 2 or 3 weeks a kind of proposal as to how to do that and get some feedback. So if we have a chance, we'll bring it back to you, or we'll bring it back in the fall. Say, here's some of the ways we're going to address this and see what you think about it. So we are definitely going to go after the graduate students, the transfer students, and just students in general that haven't been able to find the information about what we have available. No matter what we try, it seems like we can't get it out there. So we're going to come up with another proposal as to how to do that, and we're going to take input and feedback from people. So we're going to start it this year, and we'll hopefully finish it up next year and then get it rolled out.
Awesome. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move into discussion. Are there any points of discussion? Oh, wait, we're still on presentation. Senator Khan, do you have a motion?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So I would like to make a motion to expedite vote on this.
Okay, so you would like to motion to have the senators approve these objectives?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second on that motion? All right, I see it. Okay, I'll go second from Senator Gabbard. Are there any points of discussion on this motion? Any points of discussion? Any points of discussion? Any points of discussion? Seeing no points of discussion, we are going to go ahead and move to a vote. Is there any dissent to approving the objectives set out by the Technology Roundtable? Any dissent? Any dissent? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, I assume unanimous consent, and the motion to approve these objectives does pass. Wonderful. Okay, so with that, that was our new business. We have no old business. So we're going to go ahead and move into announcements. Are there any announcements? Senator Gabbard.
Hi, everyone. So tonight, PRSSA, the Public Relations Student Society of America, is having a Chipotle at fundraiser from 4 to 8 p.m. And you can order online, and you can find that poster on our social media. So yeah, it would really help us out if you would order Chipotle tonight. And I just want to say congratulations to everyone that won yesterday in the student government elections. And I look forward to working with you all next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements? President Trenny.
Yes, for my officer report, do the RSVP forms right now. Like, you're on your computer already. I'm just saying. We only have one more to do it. We only have 20 for the banquet, and there's 33 senators. So we do need to know what your plans are. If you're not coming, that's fine too. Just let us know that, so we're not assuming you're coming, and we need to plan for you to come. So if you're not coming, still do the RSVP. And then if you're a candidate that's also in this room, please fill out the inauguration form as well. I think we have a couple of them in the audience. We also need to know how you're coming as well, so we know how many people we need to swear in at the inauguration, but also on the 28th. So please fill that out as well. And I yield.
Awesome. John?
Thank you, Madam Madam Speaker. Congratulations again to all. As Andrew knows me way too well to not think that I would be mentioning your legacy. You've got just a very short time left to solidify that and to put some finishing touches and put a nice bow on your packages that you've been working on all year long. So again, I look forward to continuing to work with you. One of the things about the election that you notice is that there are a considerable number of vacancies. And one of the things that when it comes to casting a very wide net, oftentimes some of the best people slip through that very wide net when we just say, hey, if you're interested, apply. Y'all know people on campus, okay? And you know what seats are open. And if you know people who are qualified to hold those seats and who would make good senators, sometimes all they need is a little nudge from somebody who thinks or knows that they would be good. So please don't be afraid to reach out to people who are who you think would make good senators and be able to fill the, I believe, 16 vacancies that there are for next year as of right now. So please encourage people to do that. Make the job of your incoming president and vice president a little bit easier because we already know that transitions are difficult. So please work on encouraging people to do that. In the fraternity sorority life world, we're in the middle of Greek week. So some of you stopped by and grabbed a hot dog the other day. Some of you noticed that for the Mavathon event, there was a donkey taking a dump outside on the CSU Mall today. That was part of our Mavathon event. So that was great. Tomorrow we will have the viewing of our music video remake competition and our Greek gods and goddesses competition. And then Friday we'll have Greek Olympics. And then we will have our awards banquet on Sunday. For those who are interested, there is a 5K for the kids on Saturday morning, 9 o'clock on the fitness trail. Funds will benefit Gillette Children's Hospital and Dance Marathon here on campus. So it's a very, very busy, active week. And last but not least, as you are all seeing when the emails come out, the vaccine availability is rapidly increasing. So I'm not going to tell you have to get a vaccine. Nobody can tell you that, but I would highly encourage you to do so when you are able. So again, I look forward to working with you. Congratulations. We're not done yet, so let's not wrap it up like we're done. You still got some time to get stuff done. So know that the people here who are not senators are almost always willing to help if and when we can. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Senator Mendonça, did you have a question for John?
Yes, I did actually. John, I'm not sure if you have any information about this. And I know that this was brought up recently in one of the previous senator meetings regarding the vaccine. I believe that Student Health Services was taking a direction towards trying to procure more of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines for students. With recent news about some of those being halted, is there any change in that, or is there anything about that?
I would defer that question to Dr. David Jones, as he may be a little bit more in the know on that topic than I. So.
Yep. So it's a great question. So where we stand right now, we were fortunate enough to have a vaccine clinic last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm happy to report all 500 doses that we had available to us were used up by your fellow students, perhaps some of you yourselves. We do have a request in with the county to keep us included in future vaccine clinic possibilities. At this point, for this coming week, there was no additional allocation that we would be able to take advantage of. We are anticipating that Johnson & Johnson would have a decline, create a decline in the number of vaccine doses available to us through the county for future vaccine clinics. We'll keep you posted as we have those opportunities. We'll share them as soon as we can. But I would fully anticipate that change in Johnson & Johnson will have an impact on us as well.
Okay, so just to clarify, it would be that the university is still accepting those doses as based on the availability of the county?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, then we're going to go ahead and move to roll call. Senator Biggs.
Present.
Senator Gustafson.
Here.
Senator Gabbard.
Here.
Senator Vondra.
Here.
Senator Limo.
Here.
Senator Mendonça.
Here.
Senator Parte.
Here.
Senator Salim.
Present.
Senator Nemo.
Here.
Senator Hawk.
Here.
Senator Khan.
Here.
Senator Pham.
Present.
Senator El-Sadi. Senator El-Sadi. Senator Albera.
Present.
Senator Osman.
Here.
Senator Stitt.
Here.
Senator Nelson. Senator Nelson.
Here.
Senator Sweeney.
Here.
Senator Ruiz.
Here.
Senator Wheeler.
Here.
Senator Thomas. Senator Thomas. Senator Abbasi. Senator Abbasi. Senator Bejarano.
Here.
Senator Wickman.
Here.
Senator Hopwood.
Here.
Senator Flynn.
Here.
Senator Novak.
Howdy.
Senator Mecklenburg.
Here.
President Trini.
Here.
Vice President Maltari.
Salutations.
And myself. Wonderful. So then we are going to officially adjourn at 5:52, everyone. See you all next week for our last meeting. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.